Hi everybody, it's Christine Bertram and I am coming to you live from the Hive here in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Oh, ever since I said the date wrong a couple days ago, I feel like I better double check every time I say it. Today is Thursday, May 26th, and we are going to be doing the ink, paper, scissors card class tonight, which features the Symbols of Fortune suite and the Crane of Fortune bundle. So that's what we're going to work on in a little bit. And as I jibber jab with you, we're going to see if there it is. I wore a pink jacket tonight instead of my gray Stampin' Up! One. Hi, Kathy King. Hi, Betty Pyle. So that I could find the video really easy. So yay! It's up and we are live. Woohoo! So you guys, it's been raining, pouring. The old man is snoring here all afternoon. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Shirley. I don't remember when it started, but it's been thundering. It's thundering right now. I don't know if the speakers will pick up the sound of the rumbles, but we always used to say when we were kids, the angels are bowling upstairs. So they are definitely going at it. So hopefully they get a bunch of strikes. Hi, Robin. Oh, okay. So I can officially say, hi, Giannis, the swap cards are finished. So whew, that's a load off of my mind. They're not completely finished, but in terms of sorting and mailing back out. But hi, Ann Bellinger. Hi, Joan Gordon. Hi, Carmen. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Donna. My cards are all finished. I want to say, I'm trying to figure out how many I made. 40 plus 20 and 20 is 80. Probably about 125. I can't remember exactly. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Hi, Susan. Hi, Helen. Hi, Cindy. So swap cards are finished. You guys, the In Color Club too. I had to work a little bit ahead on the In Color Club for you guys this month. Hi, Mary Lemke. Hi, Laura Sullivan. Because I will be leaving on the 1st. Hi, Gwen Petrashek. I'll be leaving on the 1st. So I had to coordinate with the hosts for June. Hi, Carla Lake. And get the product in time to be able to ship it. So woohoo to that. Hi, Barb Johnson. So worked a few days ahead on that. My mom had the cookies all made too. So everybody, just to ruin the surprise for those that are watching, Feline, I need to figure out what to do for you though. We're gonna have to figure out, because I don't have a shipment going to you because you got everything. So hi, Deborah. Hi, Sherry Martin. So what I plan to do is every month everybody's gonna get cookies, right? So my mom made she made peanut butter cookies this month. And so Feline, I'll have to figure out something special to you because it's not gonna make sense to send you 2 cookies in the mail. But we'll have to figure that out. I'll send you something special in the future for a dessert. When you have like a class package going out, I'll make sure to send you something from my mom. But yes, so that's exciting. I think I'm officially done with the product shares. Hi, Renee Trapper. I think I said that right. Hi, Julie Bierschbach. I think I'm done with product shares. You guys are pretty much done. I don't think I've gotten any new requests. Hi, Latokia, in the last few days or even maybe 5 to 7 days. Thanks for sharing, Julie. I appreciate it. So I think I'm kind of done. If anybody wants a product share, just reach out to me before you purchase it in my online store to make sure I could accommodate it. I'm pretty much buttoned up or wrapped up on that. And you guys, I will be working on putting together product shares now for the holiday mini catalog. Hi, Sherry Stewart. Hi, Mary Hornke. That's going to be coming up super quick. I can order from the new mini catalog on Tuesday, I believe or Wednesday. It must be Wednesday the 1st, which is very inconvenient because I fly out at like 6:30 that morning. So I'm trying to debate in my head if I even go to bed that night. Hi, Corinne. Thanks for sharing. I'm trying to debate because our flight is at 6:42 out of Appleton and we need to leave to go there around, I'm guessing, 5. And we can start ordering, I guess, at maybe 2. And it's like, it's going to take a couple hours to put all the orders in for what I want. And I think I'm going to sneak out of bed while Tyler's sleeping and go put my order in and then just get going about my day. So, hi, Pat Detlefson. Hi, Sharon Land. Pat, I have a catalog. It's on my table right there. I will be mailing out tomorrow. My mom's coming back in tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to work on some mailings in the afternoon. So I will be getting a catalog in the mail for you. I appreciate your support in your business, and so I send out my catalogs to customers who buy from me at no charge. Hi, Elaine Rebeck. I'm going to watch and listen and put together during the replay. Perfect. Elaine, I messaged you too that you can come pick up your In Color Club underneath the counter in Mudroom. So, woohoo. I do have the ink, paper, scissors cards ready for next month. I'm so excited. I love the suite for next month too. Thanks for sharing, Betty Pyle. I appreciate it. The ink, paper, scissors for next month is for Hues of Happiness. It was so much fun playing with that stamp set and the designer series paper. Oh, it's so fun. So I'm going to show them to you after we're done with class, just to keep some excitement and anticipation going throughout the evening. I have them. I already have 13 people signed up for ink, paper, scissors next month, which is exciting. I really need to know, like, are you thinking about taking it or not once you see the cards? Because I need to, when I get back from my trip, I always like to start prepping and planning how much cardstock I need and all that good stuff. So yeah, so excited. Hi, Hildy. But tonight we're going to do Crane of Fortune. And you guys, this is my last class of the month, I think. And actually, I think it's my last class until, basically for me, until Mystery Night, which I think is, there's some changing of the catalogs, you guys, or I'm changing of the schedule up, you know, because I'm leaving next week. So Kelly's going to be doing Paper Pumpkin with you guys next week, Thursday, which is the 2nd of June. So that's the next official class. And then there isn't another class until June 9th, which is actually Mystery Card Night. We moved Mystery Card Night up because of my trip, and originally I was going to be gone for 2 weeks, but then it became 1 week, and so I'm going to do Mystery Card Night instead of Kelly. So Hildy, Chris Dudorinky, hi, gonna watch as you are sick as a dead. Oh no, I hope you feel better soon, Chris. And Hildy, yes. We're going to try to remember to put you on ink, paper, scissors. If you could follow up with a little note, that would be awesome too. Hi, Jeannie Parker. You're going to back and eat some ice cream and watch and then do the replay. Awesome. Hi, Mary Carls from Jericho. So you guys, I don't have another class that I'm doing for 2 weeks. Oh my gosh. I talked to my mom about that today and I'm like, I'm kind of excited for a little downtime. There's been a lot of classes for the last 5 months, you guys. I've been going nonstop, it feels. Hi, Marcia Coolbert. So it'll be a nice little reprieve for me. And I will be working before I leave for the trip. I will be posting, hopefully, the Mystery Card Night clue number 1 correct in every place that I post it, you guys. I will do my best. That May one really messed with me because if you haven't figured out what I do, I usually take the template from last month, and April just did not want to leave me. And so the clue from April got brought into May and blah, blah, blah. You guys figured that out. And so, yes. So my goal is before I leave for my trip to have clue 1 posted. And then also before I leave on Tuesday, you guys, I will be doing a swap card showcase with all the swaps that I will be getting in by the end of this, like by tomorrow or Saturday. And I plan to do a last chance review, and I'm going to be doing at some point a June showcase of all the cards that are coming up for classes in June. So I'm not doing classes per se, but we'll have some lives with you, and I have a Tip Tuesday I'll be doing with you. And I think I'm going to skip Tip Tuesday on June 7th and just not even plan to tape something. And you guys, I hope, are going to be like, yep, don't do anything, take the day off. So, but then I'm like, well, I don't want to miss a Tip Tuesday. So, yeah. So I have an idea in my head for the June mystery card, and it's compliments, I think, of Susie Stocks. I'm going to use one of her cards that I got from a team swap because it was so darn awesome. So, all right. So that's a little bit of a heads up for what's coming up, you guys. So yes. I want to see about Hildy. I'm going to write you down, Hildy, now for ink, paper, scissors for June, just to get you. You know, you guys, you don't have to worry about paying for the class like immediately. I just want to make sure I get everybody on the list who wants to take it so I can make sure you get a set of cards and the kit that you need. So, all right, let's get to it. We have a great night. It's so weird to think about that I'm not going to be doing a class for a couple weeks. So, yeah, it's like woohoo. Okay. It's like spring break for me. All right. So we have at the moment 42 people who are signed up for this class tonight, which is like awesome. And on top of it, Feline took 2 sets. So Mom and I prepped 48 sets of card kits, and there are 5 left. So I have a feeling that they may or may not make it through the end of the night. So if you are starting, oh yeah, Jeannie Parker, I have you down for all the June classes. I just need to send you a total for what June is. so you guys, just so you, like, if you want the easy button with me, Feline, I'll add you too. If you want the easy, I say button, because that's how my brother says it, button. If you want the easy button with me, if you love doing all of my classes and you like don't want to miss one, what I do on a monthly basis is I write up a Post-it note with your name, all the classes, the costs, and I put a total and I send you a picture of the Post-it note and then you send money. And so that's how it goes. Hi, Helen, I'll put you down for next month too. And that's what I do with maybe half a dozen people. And so and maybe you just tell me which ones you want and then I send you a total. And so that's what we kind of try to make it easy. So, but yes, Jeannie Parker, I have a Post-it note. I just need to send you a picture of it so you know what to send. So yay. Barb Johnson says I should take off for a Tip Tuesday. I think I might just listen to you, Barb, and not think about it and just let it go and let it be. But it's hard for me to think that because we've been doing Tip Tuesday. It'll be 2 years in September that I don't think we've missed one. Like they might not have been on that Tuesday, so we might have done it on Wednesday, but we still did one for the week. So it's like, oh, do we break that record? So Marsha Coolbert, I'm going to fly into the Las Vegas airport, and we have an 1.5-hour drive to St. George, Utah. And there is a convention with fellow Stampin' Up! Demonstrators who earned the incentive trip, not organized with Stampin' Up, but by a different demonstrator. And then from there, Tyler and I are going to go to Zion National Park for a couple days and do some hiking. So Helen, you want the symbols of fortune. Okay, yes, Helen, we will put you down as number 43 because that's the next number. But if you do want hues of happiness, you got to let me know that too. I didn't... Oh, Shirley, we've got you set up for June, I think. I think we already did your June class schedule. So Helen, I've got you down for today's class. I'll set aside a set for you. And then if you did want hues of happiness, let me know that too. So, we were going to do roll call though. We'll do that really quick. Thanks, Barb. I will enjoy the vacation. It's going to be a short and sweet one. It's only 6 days. It was supposed to be 14. I was a little bit nervous or worried about thinking about being gone for 14 days and keeping it all together. And when Tyler and I talked, we thought, let's just cut it back to 6 days and fly. It's okay. We're good. We're going to save some gas money is the plan. So, all right. I have an itchy nose, you guys. So hang on. I got to get that. I felt like there was a hair like on my nose and it was tickling. All right. Let's keep rolling here. All right. We have Deanna Stout, Sandy Wicklander, Angela Knutson, Ellen Brover, Lynn Beasley, Mary Carls, Latokia Trigg, Jennifer Jones, Julie Bierschbach, Jeannie Parker, Kathy King, Judy Immel, Diane Bogenhagen, Barb Collins, Jill Butzine, Carmen Melendez, Jody Storman, Karen Wetstein, Feline Mays, Elaine Rebeck, Chris Dudarenki, Mo Stites, Karen Forward, Sue Somerville, Karen Stagg, Barb Johnson, Patsy Roberts, Carla Lake, Deb Ryan, Kat Birch, Lynette Mooney, Becky Gandolfo, Lori Kaiser, Bobby Rubish, Cindy Patch, Sarah Kruger, Kathy Ballard, Mary Lemke, Munch Woods, Kathy Dwyer, Ruth Ann Deeg, Andrea Cox, and Helen Chase. Wow, you guys, that was 43 girls and Feline times 2. And I think the most popular names on here are ties between Karen and Mary. So, it's amazing. I have a lot of Barbs too, you guys. Yeah, only one Deanne. So Deanne, you're usually my only Deanne. But so, all right. So that's everybody who's here. I will do a door prize drawing later for somebody to win a prize. We'll do that at the end when I show off the cards. I'm going to set those here so I don't forget. And we're going to do that. So thank you to Diane Bogenhagen. She graciously let me keep her ink, paper, scissors set here so that I could demonstrate the cutting of the paper for you. When I make up my card kits, I have them ready with everything in it. And then when it comes to doing the class, this class is a little different because I give you a 1/4 pack of designer series paper and the embellishments, a whole pack, and the whole roll of ribbon in your goodie bag, and you are responsible for cutting your own designer paper. And so it's the only time I really hand out designer series paper for a class, but people love it. because they have extra left that they can create more cards with it. I've been told that 1 DN is all anyone needs. Let's keep it that way then. Oh, funny. And then also another great thing about you guys having your own designer series paper for this class is that you can decorate your envelopes. I love seeing the flaps of the envelope covered with a matching designer series paper. It makes me so happy when I see that in the mail. And a few of you do that to your cards when you send them to me. So what we're gonna do first for this class is we're gonna take Diane's kit and we're gonna cut apart her designer series paper. And I have a tip for you guys from Julie Bierschbach. I figured this out. I don't remember when it was, Julie, that we talked about this, if it was last month or the month before, and I can't remember the quantity, but I think it was 4. So Julie said that what she does when she gets this class from me is she not only does the set of cards that I provide to her, but she adds another quantity to it. Like, I don't know if she cuts 4 more sets or 3 more sets, but she cuts all the cardstock and ahead of time for like 3 or 4 more sets, and she makes 16 of them at one time, or let's say 20 of them at one time, or let's say 12 at one time. She cuts all the bases, all the mats, and all the designer series paper, and then makes multiples of each card. And she uses the designer series paper, and usually that designer series paper is enough to do that. So thanks for sharing, Marcia. I appreciate it. So what you guys need to do, for those, I know that a lot of you are watching and then you're going to catch the replay. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the paper and show you how to do that. I think my trimmers is over here. And if you're watching along, this is what you'll do too for the paper. I try to make sure for this class specifically, I do not have you guys cut the designer series paper at 1/16 of an inch. I've learned that that's too much and too little of numbers. So we keep it at the 1/8 level. So just know that too. I intentionally think about that when these cards are being designed. Also, a great big thank you to Carissa Alberts. She loves this suite so much, and she designed the most gorgeous cards that you could imagine. And she was in a couple swaps, and she gave me, she's like, yep, you can just case my cards, change maybe a little bit, or don't change anything at all. I don't really care. So a lot of the credit for these cards comes from Carissa, especially the lantern card. And I know she got that idea from somebody or somewhere else. But she also had just all the styles, and she even copied one of my mystery cards for one of the cards. So you guys, those mystery card layouts are amazing. Love it, love it, love it. So, all right. Elaine Rebeck just said that she also does 4 sets of each. That's fabulous. That's awesome. That helps, as long as, that's how I work. If I'm going to make 1 card, I'm not going to make 1. I'm going to make 4. Oh, hi, Karen Forward. Better late than never. Woohoo. Okay. So we're just ready to get started, Karen. So you are not too late at all. All right. So I'm going to flip the camera down, you guys. Hi, Pat Butts. And there's Mary Jean. Hi, girls. We're going to get started on these cards. Let's flip it down. Make sure that our camera's in good order here. Okay. So you guys, I did this without you guys seeing, but when I do this class, I put everything in this 8x8 plastic bag. And so the roll of ribbon that is here is soft succulent. In the satin. You have a pack of the embellishments are polished dots. Hi, Kathy Dwyer. Your first time here. Woohoo! I did roll call, Kathy, and I called off your name. Hi, Patsy Hudson. You're here too. Hi, Andrea Cox. I called off your name too. Okay, so in your kit, you guys will have a roll of ribbon, the polished dots, and when I package these in here, I usually put them backwards so that nothing can hit them and move them around. And you'll have a 1/4 pack of the designer series paper. So these are all the pages that you'll get. And then you'll have 4 envelopes and a piece of white. When I put white in as a scrap piece, it's usually because it's needed for multiple cards, not just one. If I just put in a piece of white for 1 card, it usually goes into the envelope. So Feline loves, you guys, so Feline says she has several packs of the crane. She's going to make extra cards. So this is Feline's, I think, favorite suite out of this whole catalog, the mini, and I think she loves this a lot. People, and some people were worried about this class that, oh, they have to have the crane stamp set to make these cards. Well, I will tell you, I have 4 sets of this class left because I have the card kits already made up. I would just need to get the product, which is really easy to do. But I want to show you guys how easy this, like, you don't necessarily need to have the crane to make these cards, because this one's a flower, this one's sentiments and foliage in the background, and people have said you could use a flamingo for this, or you could use a palm tree. You could put something else on here besides a crane in case you don't have the crane stamp set. So the stamp set looks like this. It's called Crane of Fortune, whereas the suite is called Symbols of Fortune. And so you guys are going to have all your die cut. I think that's the Ginkgo Leaf. You're going to have your stuff die cut, except for the crane, right? That is not done. And I'm curious what I did. If I did, I might have to go get my machine, because I don't know if I, through the magic of TV, did that or not. So, yeah, so that's pretty much everything that's in your kit. And so for Diane's here, she said that I was more than welcome to cut up her designer series paper. And then what I do is I put them in her kits for her. Normally Naughty Nancy lets me do that, but Naughty Nancy didn't get this class this month. So we're going to start here. Just that the cranes are good luck for fortune in the Asian culture. Yes, they are. Oh, Feline said her husband is Chinese, and that's, I buy this set to make the cards for his mama. That's awesome. Okay, Feline, that's perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with this card. And so what we need to do is grab out this piece of designer paper. So you know what, we're going to start with we're going to end with that one, actually, because I have an optional piece in there and I want to make sure it's still there. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. This is our lantern card. So at the moment, you guys were just cutting the designer paper, and then we're going to set it off to the side. And so this designer paper in here, look at my chicken scratch, is a 2x5. So when you go through here, all that gray is on the one side. So you're going to have to flip it over and look for the one with these birds flying through the air. And yeah, you guys, okay, so Laura said pretty paper. So we're going to have to show, I didn't really do it justice. So pretty, yeah, like, if you're into the cranes, great. But sometimes you're like, oh, I don't like the cranes. Well, then the other side is super pretty, right? So even if you're not into the cranes, you really need to consider this paper, because just for the gold in there is so pretty with the little white, got the cottony look to it with the gold. Okay, so we're going for this greenie with the birds down here, this one. Okay, this is important because you want to make sure you get your orientation correct. And so this is 2 inches high by 5 inches wide. And so what I'm going to do is cut it at 2 inches first, because then I still have a whole section here. Where if I cut it at 5 inches this way, I've just lost this little inch on the side. So I'm going to first cut off the 2 inches here. Hi, Karen Carstay. So 2 inches. So this is extra for the moment. So I'll set that over here. And now we need to do by 5 inches. So you got to think about this. All right. So if you cut off the one end, you're cutting off right there. But if you want to cut off on this end, then you're cutting it like that. So it's really, it doesn't, sometimes you don't even think about that, guys, but that's just something I want to call out, that, okay, if you put that here, then you're going to see that guy. These ones are going to get covered up. His head's going to get cut off. Or if you put it like this, then these you're going to see flying. So I'm going to cut off the 1 inch on this side, all right? So just things to think about when you're cutting designer paper. Sometimes it really doesn't even make a difference. Hi, Ann Adam. So this piece is going to go for there. And then when you open this one up, we have 2 of these pieces on the inside. And those 2 pieces are, what are they? They are, I was like, can I read my chicken scratch over here? You know, I could have my printed PDF tutorial in front of me, but I didn't print it. 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. All right, there we go. Hi, Janet Core. Hi, Deb. Okay, so let's grab that. Now, these look, they're tricky. Oh, that is that one, though. Like, there's a bunch of them that look very similar. So I would heed caution because sometimes I did use these other patterns on other ones. So it's this one with the big puffer balls of cottony spikes. So we said, and there is a pattern to this to me. Like, I feel like this is going up that way. So I'm going to cut 2 3/4 and 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to cut the 3 3/4 first this way. And then this is extra. And then we need 2 of these. Hi, Julie. 2 3/4 this way. And then this is my factory cut edge. So I like to keep that edge. And so then I flip that to the side that I'm not cutting. And we got another 2 3/4. So now I've only like left that little scrapperoni. And then these two are what we're gonna have for the inside panel there. Okay, but because these are for Diane, I'm gonna set them over with hers over there. And that is the only designer paper for this card, okay? So this one, this one's tricky, you guys. It makes it look like it's all one piece, but like the gray is a piece, this is a small little piece, that's a small little piece, small little piece, small little piece, small little piece. So there's only 2 pieces of designer paper, and they are 2 different sizes. They're both 5 1/8, and one is by 2 inches and one is by 1 1/4. So we got to grab that piece out of our pile here and put that there. So again, you got to be careful looking for the right one. It has that one. Okay, so it's the one with the bamboo shoots on the back. And to me, it doesn't really look like there's a pattern to it. So I said that I'm going to cut that at 5 1/8. So we're going to cut 5 1/8 because both of these pieces are about the, both 5 1/8. So we're going to do that. And then there was one by 2 inches. So that is the one that goes back here. And then there's another one that is 1 1/4, and that's this guy right here. So then we're just gonna slide this in. Again, I like to use the factory cut edge as much as possible because it's usually a nicer cut. So then this is the piece that goes here on the bottom, right there. So these are the 2 designer pieces that go with this one. Yeah, Elaine, you could definitely make extras and then change it up. Hi, Becky Wagner. Okay, so I'm going to set this in Diane's pile here because she can use that for hers. And then let's look at this one. So that one's done. This one, you guys, is a full mat. I love doing ink, paper, scissors because it really allows me to create and design cards that use the full sheet. Hi, Tabitha Lawson. When I do classes with, let's say, 40 to 80 people, if I use a full mat, I'd have to sometimes get 6 packs of designer paper to accommodate that. So when I do ink, paper, scissors, and you guys have your own paper pack that you're using, that allows me to really show off the whole piece of the designer paper like that. And so that one is this cloudy looking full cottony one too. So this one too looks like it has up and down pattern going. So this is your traditional mat. It is a 4 by 5 1/4. So I think for this one, I might cut off the 4. And so 4 wide by 5 1/4 tall. So right like that. So that's the first mat that goes underneath there. But then there's these 3 blocks. And those blocks, I think, were similar to one that we just used. So it's the same, I think we cut that on the one card. So you're gonna have some left, right? So let's see if we can use some of this one first before we cut into the other sheet. So these blocks are all 1 1/4 high. So 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4. And some are going to be, like this one's actually, oh, look at that. Okay, cool beans and bagels. So that top one is actually 1 1/4 by, it's actually 2 1/8. Maybe it's not though, hang on. Oh yeah, it's 2 1/8, but let's see here. Hi, Carol Jefferson. Oh, I didn't turn my volume off. That's 2 1/8, that's really close. That's close enough for me. So that piece that you had left, what you need to do is cut that at 1 1/4. You guys are gonna hear my Mario go off tonight, I think. So there's our first block. So perfect, that will go there. You could trim off a hair, but I think it's fine being just a hair long. Then the next block is 2 1/2 long. Now that's too short. So now we're only gonna get one of these out of here, not gonna get both of them. So I have an idea. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna love this. Okay, I think we can get this one piece of paper out of this if you want to be paper conservative. Hi, Andy Acquisto. So look at this. This guy right here, you need to have the whole piece. And that piece right there is 2.5 inches by 1.25. So let's just double check. I'm pretty sure it is 2. Nope, it's 3. So, oh, it's that one. So it's 1.25 by 3. So watch this. I hope that this doesn't confuse Diane, but 3 inches by 1.25. So this is giving us our bottom block, I guess you could say, right here, the bottom one. But now you look at this one in the middle. That crane covers up this area. So you really could use this piece and split it. And what I mean by that is cut it at 1.25. And when it's so small like that, it's hard to keep it in there straight, but we'll get it. So watch this then. So now you have this, but this is not long enough, okay? No problem. Right here, you need to cut it, and then you're gonna split it if you want to. If that's too much, you guys, just so you know, that other one is 2.125 inches, so you would need it just a hair longer. But because I don't want to necessarily cut into that full 6x6, you could use that for something else. What I'm going to do is put just like a little mark here. I don't know if I have a pencil handy. I do. Look at that. I'm just going to put a little mark right about, because right here is where I need to cut it. And then what happens is this goes right here, and this is gonna go right there, and then our bird's her like thigh area leg is gonna cover up that middle section. So just to be nice to Diane though, so I don't confuse the daylights out of her, I'm gonna use this for mine tonight, and I will give her the full one. So there we go. So this is what you would cut if you really don't want to deal with that, but I'm gonna show you how this will work. That's called paper conservation at its finest. All right, that's it for designer series paper on that one. All right, hi Denise Rye. Now this one back here is just a 3x4 designer paper. It's that pretty flowery one. So let's see where that one is in our pile. I hope I didn't confuse the daylights out of you guys on that. All right, so I like this one a lot too, and I think it's the back here, and that might work. Oh, it's a little fly. Okay, so this one is a 3x4. I look at this and I see butterflies generally going up, and so I'm gonna cut at, it's 4 inches wide by 3 inches this way. So I'm gonna do 3 this way, because it's 3 high, so it left me with half of my sheet over there, by 4. Okay, so that's gonna be that top mat. Now, on the PDF tutorial that I sent you guys yesterday morning, I put in the tutorial that there could be an optional designer paper, and I think it would be really pretty to have one on the inside, right? So that's why I cut it at 3x4. And had I cut that 4 inches off, I wouldn't have been able to fit it in here right. But because I cut it that way, now I can cut this other side at 4, and then I have the exact, hi Betty Ray, I have a piece I can put on the inside to match as well. So this was the optional designer paper. I thought, well, how can we get some more designer paper on this card? And this is how it was. So there you go. Now what happens is you have all of these sheets left. Now, if you don't want to use the same designer paper, this one on the inside, I thought that this one would look really pretty too, in case you wanted to add a little, this one would look really nice in there too. So, okay, I think that's finito. I think that's all. I'm finished with cutting. So we can get this back together, and this is all that you guys have all of this left to create and make stuff with. Make pretty cards, right? That's what I always tease Carissa when I'm like, she's here. She gets to go home with all the extra die cutting pieces. I say, make pretty cards, make something pretty with it. So, all right, so we're gonna put all of this back in this bag so I don't lose any of this for Diane. Thank you to Diane. Yay, Diane, for letting me have that. And then we're gonna set all of this back in your kit like so. And I'll put I'll put her pieces of paper in her envelope for her. So, all right, so first things first, you guys, let's start with this card, I think. And let's see where it is here. So in your kit, you guys, whoa, this one has, it's weird. Now, if you've been doing Mystery Night with me for a time or two. This one was, I think, from, maybe somebody remembers. I honestly can't remember at the moment. I feel like it was less than a year ago, but more than 3 months ago. I can't remember. And it originally came from one of my customers that sent me a card. I'm like, oh, I love it. So that's what's going on here. So I do have by the Magic of TV one of mine done here. So what we need here, though, I still will stamp. We need that stamp. And then I have Much Good Luck and Fortune. And then there are some dragonflies, and I took them out. There they are. And then I think on the inside we got the little, oh, the flower, perfect. Okay, so in this one you guys will have a scrap of white. So that white piece from your kit is actually for 2 other cards. You should have a piece that's big enough for your flower. Don't confuse it with this piece, which you can tell, hi Lynn Beasley, you can tell that this is the mat for this one, okay? All right, so you have a scrap for stamping and die cutting, and then you also have your designer paper, which you've cut. You have your Calypso Coral and a basic white for your inside mat, and then you have these 2 pieces. And you're like, well, this doesn't make a card. Well, it's because it's a different kind of a card. There is a 3/4 inch flap on here. So you guys look for the score line on there, and you're just gonna fold it in half. And then, oh, Marcia did her Christmas cards with this layout. I love it. Yeah, this is a fun layout. It really lets you see designer paper, and like having that double border like that. You wouldn't have to do the double border. It's a very fun layout. But now what you're gonna do is you need to put a little bit of adhesive on that flap like that. And what I do, compliments of Carissa, is I glue it flush on this side versus attaching it to the back side of this other layer. What I want this is to be flush on this side and then flush on the bottom. Now, depending on the score line or how you score it, you might be a little hair short over on that side. If that happens to you and you don't like it, just take your trimmers and trim off that little hair. And otherwise, like, it's so small you don't even really notice it. But that happens because the score line kind of makes some of that disappear. Like, even if you scored at 4 1/4, you're a hair short because of that score. Now what happens is you've got the base for your card. Don't worry about that flap or that line right there, because when you go to adhere this in, you really won't see anything except for that little bit that's hanging down right there, which is very not noticeable. All right, so there's our base started. And then what we need to do is let's get oh, actually, you know what? This can get glued down. So if you have 2 of them that you cut, one for the inside and one for the outside, you could glue them both on. But I only, for my card here, I only prepped one for the outside. And so that gets glued right onto that flap like that. All right, and then let's get some stamping done. So we need our Calypso Coral and our, so the ink, there's not a lot of ink colors for tonight. I think primarily this and a Versamark pad, which I need to grab because we're doing some embossing in a bit. But we need to do the crumb cake for Much Good Luck and Fortune. And let's get a scrap paper so that we can practice on here. So when the ink pads are foam, so for those that are new, sometimes you don't know that the Stampin' Up! Ink pads are foam pads. They're very juicy. You don't generally need to push very hard on them. And I like to practice on the bottom edge of my paper to see if the stamp actually is straight or not. And that one looked pretty straight to me. So I'm gonna go right for it and put that near the bottom right. If for any reason you think you don't like it, you can flip it over. You have the opportunity to flip it over now. I don't think I didn't stamp a sentiment on the inside, but if you guys wanted to stamp a sentiment, I would probably do it in the crumb cake. And then I'm gonna do Soft Succulent for the little dragonflies. Now here's the deal. The dragonflies are a pair on the same stamp. And what happens is if you want to split them up like that, you can only ink up one at a time. And you have 2 options. You can either do something like this if you feel like if it's split enough, and double check it just to make sure it's not inked up on this guy. And then you could do something like that. Okay. Then what happens though is you have to clean this before you do the other one, because the other one is smaller and at the top. And so I like to stamp off. My chamois needs to be cleaned. It's getting to the point where it's getting hard. It needs to get some rehydration. All right, so that's one way to do only one thing on a stamp. But if that's too much and you need, hi Kathy Groves, if that's Tithe Jar Lizelle, what you can do is mask. And masking is using washi tape or masking tape, something to help so that you don't get the ink on the other part. And so this little guy, he's gonna go up near the top. Sometimes it's hard to see when you have white underneath. So he's up there in the corner, hanging out up there. I'm gonna hang on to that just in case I need it. So that's it for the green, soft succulent. And then we have our flower, and the flower is in Calypso Coral. And what you're gonna do on your scrap is stamp that. And if you don't have this flower, find a different flower or find something else. Anything would look great in the center of this area right here. All right, so there's my Calypso Coral. So if you guys have the dies at home, you could take your dies and then die cut that. If you don't have the dies, but you did get the stamp set, you could fussy cut that out. Again, if you use something else, you've got this white paper to go with whatever you have. Now, my Magic of TV, mine is completed because I already die cut it. So we need to do the inside though. You can see on the bottom corner, I've got a little foliage. So you don't have to, whoa, almost lost it, ink up the whole thing per se, but I just took that and put a little bit of it right in the corner. So that's all I've got for my flower. Mary Lem, oh, very good idea, Mary. I think I need to tell you guys this, what she just did. I didn't even think about that. Let's just see here. Mary said she cut hers out of the designer paper. There is, sneaker. There is a flower here. So you guys could have cut that. I didn't even use that pattern. You guys, that is perfect. Mary, good idea. So there you go. Another way to get this card kit and you don't even have to have the stamps. Love it. Boom. Good idea. Okay. I think that we have our stamping done and we can assemble this bad boy. Okay. Oh, I might as well clean these two while I have it in my hand, right? Washy, washy, washy. Okay. So let's glue. This and this are gonna get glued. And, oh, I must have had some ink on me. I'm glad it got on that side. And, what flower is this, Patsy? This is the this is the Patsy. This is the flower from the stamp set. So, comes right in the Crane stamp set, but Mary Lemke just said she used the paper, the designer series paper from the pack of paper. There's a flower on one of the sheets that she just cut hers from that. So yes, Laura Sullivan, this flower is in with the Crane. Whenever I do a class like ink, paper, scissors, I try to keep everything contained within the stamp set. Like everything in the card class is from the specific stamp set. All right, so then this now can get a little liquid glue and that will go on the inside of our card. So this goes right here. Gotta be careful because if you would stamp anything in here, you wouldn't want to put it near the edges because you'll see it when the card is open. And now we need some tear and tape. And we're gonna rip off a little bit and put it right where we think the ribbon's gonna go. So this is another one where I did this in the class last night. You might be thinking, well, where am I gonna put this ribbon? I don't wanna have to guess too much. So what I would do in this case, like I did yesterday in class, I would put my dimensionals and prep them, but only take them off of the top one. Okay, so these two are still on. And when I put this on here, it's gonna keep it in place. And now what can happen is I'll get my ribbon situated exactly where I want it. And what you're gonna need to do is cut an amount just like a little bit longer than the soft succulent base. Now, this ribbon is thicker. Oh, you're very welcome, Patsy. The flower is awesome, but Patsy, if you got this designer series paper, you would have the flower in there. If you look at this, the ribbon is wider than what I have. So how did I do that? I folded it in half, and not even in half per se. I folded it just enough that it was thinner. And then now I can weave this underneath here, and I can put it exactly where I want it. And I have it so that it makes it look like when I put my bow is gonna be right over where the ribbon is. And by folding that in half, it allowed it to be just a little more dainty and not so thick. All right, so then a little more tear and tape on the back here. And I did pop this up with dimensionals. So I'm not gonna rip off where my tear and tape is. And we're gonna grab, oh you guys, I thought we'd finished the sheet last night, but we didn't. Tonight's the night. All right, so there and there, here, here, one more right there, and maybe, yay, it's gone. Okay, so it's rewarding finishing up a sheet of dimensionals. And then you get to start fresh. All right, so let's pick all these guys off. And this, I'm like, oh my goodness, I do it wrong. No, this goes on to our crumb cake. So because I'm not using liquid glue, I kind of gotta make sure I get this as straight as I can right off the bat. And there it is. And now you can squish that good. And then when you put this onto your card, you just wanna make sure you don't put glue anywhere up here. Hi, Stacy Burns. So how do I do that? What I will do is put a line of liquid glue like that, and then I'll put the other line of liquid glue at the top of there. And then I don't have to guess where I need to put it there. And then now I'm gonna put my white margin about the same on all three sides, top and the two sides, just like that. And then you'll need to cut yourself, okay, this is floppy here, right? So now you can take the backs of the dimensionals off, secure that, but then I used a little, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use glue dot. And I'm gonna put that glue dot underneath the stem of the flower, so it's partly hitting the ribbon and partly hitting my white cardstock. And now that's secure on there and it's not flopping. And then this knot, all you're gonna do with this, thanks Patsy, is tie a knot like that, and then you can already trim that one side so you're not wasting a lot. And that knot's gonna go right on there. Hi Ethel King, thanks for sharing, Mitzi Stanley. You're gonna put a glue dot right where you want your bow to go. And then that's gonna go right there. Now, you gotta figure out if your tails are going the way that you want them, and you can trim it now. I always wait to trim once it's on my card so I know how long to make them. Want a nice, good ribbon scissors so that it cuts a clean edge. I think I might leave it like that because I'm afraid if I try, oh, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna just trim a hair. And I don't wanna mess it up. All right, I'm good with that. My mom would say, leave well enough alone. Thanks, Shirley. Thanks, Carol. All right, so last but not least though, you guys have a whole pack of opal rounds. Go crazy with them. And I have a whole pack of opened opal rounds, and I have a lonely soldier right there that I feel like he wants to get used. So we're gonna put that on here. I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's gotta be 7. I usually do 7. So we've got here a pink one up in the corner. And I think I might pull out the take your pick tool for this procedure because it generally helps. All right, so then one there. I did the pink on the white so that they stood out. Oh, there you go. Mario got a coin, and then here's one. And then this guy's gonna move up a hair. Oh, there's 2 in the middles. And for those, I think I did pinks. So there's like it's petal pink and then clear. And there's small and large. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is good. All right. So you guys, we didn't Stella anything. Be very careful stellaing this flower, just because yeah, it's gonna bleed. So what happens when you stella that flower, you lose the definition. All right, so what you could stella on something like this is you could stella the border of it. You know, I'm not gonna do it right now because I'm afraid to squeeze this because it's got a lot of rubbing alcohol in it. I did a rehydration, but stellaing the border of this would be a great use of adding stella to the card. I always say stella it up. So just like that. Okay. Boom. If you wanted to with these little guys, you could kind of drag a little color with them because they're not as detailed as the flower is. But be careful not to drag any of the color onto your white paper because it will make it bleed. All right. I would say officially we have one done. Yay. Okay. Whew, nice. And we're gonna take a drink of water because I don't think I drank enough water last time. For class last night. It was 3 hours, you guys. Whew. All right, so there's one. I'll set you right there. Let's look, what do we wanna do next? We're going to do, let's do the pocket card. It's not complicated, it's just there's a lot going on with it because there's a lot of little pieces. So I think we're done with him. So we'll set him there. You know what? I'm glad we're doing this one next because I want to show you about, hi, thanks Carrie Peterson. Thanks everybody. This one's next and it's not this one. So it must be this one. All right. So I hope I didn't forget any pieces in your kit. There was a lot of pieces for this one. Do you still have some of these to buy? Yes, Linda Rios, I think I have 3 left. If you commit that you want one, I will add you to my list for the door prize drawing too. All right, Lynn Beasley, we'll see you later. All right, so let's look at what you got for pieces. You'll have a white mat that fits on a basic gray mat, and that's for your pocket. Because you guys, this is a pocket card, so this comes out like this. All right, so you'll have these 2 pieces, and we'll glue them together once we do a little stamping. Then you have 3 strips of soft succulent, okay? There's one for the top, and you cut a piece of designer paper for it. Don't worry if they're not matching. They get hidden underneath. You also have a piece of green for the bottom, which you now have. Oh, I see what I did. I cut this wrong. I wondered about that. So hi, Christina Bernards, for what I just cut for paper. So those of you who are watching and didn't do your cutting, I wondered about that. The one with that pretty flower on the background, I actually used that as the background for here and made it 2 different ones where with Diane's kit, I cut her the same piece. I cut her the same piece and it's gonna be about the same. It looks like gray with a little bit of gold. They look very similar. So, but in case you wanna make it like how I have mine, hi, Carol. If you want to make it look like mine, then I use this splotchier piece like that. But anyways, that's what I just noticed now. So there's that. You guys will have a gold foil ginkgo, and you may have to pick out some of the little bits and parts for that because they definitely didn't all fall out in the process. And Anna did all the die cutting for these cards. And so I tell her she does not need to take the time to pick out everybody's bits and parts. Everybody has their own capabilities of doing that. So you could definitely take a little second and pop them out. And then what happens is I think in your card kit, you guys, I have included 2 of these. The reason I put 2 of them in there is because when this card was cut, you get 2 of the cranes. And I did not want to keep a set of cranes for myself. So one of the cranes goes on this card and it's to create this awesome like double effect right here, right? So that's where one crane goes. And Mary Lemke, this was 5 1/8, 5 1/8. By this one was like 2 and this one was 1 1/4. So this, there's gonna be an extra one, you guys. And then you're gonna have the piece of white. So let's grab Diane's kit again here. You guys have this piece of white, all right, in your kit. And we're gonna just use this as a scrap for tonight. You also have a piece of soft succulent that is embossed with the painted texture. And then you have the basic gray, which is scored at 4 1/4 and 1 1/4 from that end. Okay, so Mary, I hope that answered 5 1/8 by 1 1/4, and then this one's like by 1 1/2. It's like 2 actually. You could do 2 on that one. All right, so let's put some of this together. So we'll do our stamping afterwards. Okay, hi Bobby McPherson. So we can fold this on the score line like that. And then this, where it's scored, it flips back. All right, so that's what's creating the pocket. Then what happens is you have the larger soft succulent. It's gonna go here. And then your designer paper nestles right in there. And don't even worry about what the bottom looks like because this gets glued up and you don't see anything down there. So the bottom then was these two down here. So I'm going to do a little gluing. And I feel like I'm gonna do this. Isn't it funny? There's nothing on either side, but you still I have that tendency to flip that over. All right, so this is what I got. I'm gonna glue this piece down, and what's on the other side? That side needs the glue. All right, so now this, I'm matting onto this. Now don't worry about one side. You're only concerned about the bottom and the top, and just 3 sides. Because what happens is this side will get covered up, okay? Then this gets glued on the back, like that. And then flip these 2 over. And then we'll adhere these down. So then this, I'll put it so the gold's there. Again, don't worry about the bottom. You're only worried about the 3 sides. And then this one, you want to make sure that the green edging is on the 2 sides and then the bottom. All right. Okay, so this is what we got so far. And now this area needs to get adhered down. And you want to use something very strong and secure. So I would say either tear and tape or liquid glue or both maybe. Where did I put my tear and tape? Underneath here. So hi Kathy, back. So what I'm going to do is run my tear and tape across here and make sure that's good. And then I'm also going to put it right here and right there. And peel these off. Liquid glue would work too. I had a tendency to go to tear and tape when I work on fun folds. All right, so now this just folds down. Okay. This piece right here is where the ribbon needs to go underneath. There is some ribbon, some satin ribbon back here. You can see it. And it's actually 2 lines. So 6 inches each. So a total of 12 inches. And what I'm going to do is just cut what I need. That needs to go away in the garbage. I think of Penny Powell all the time when I have these scraps around. Like, get it out of the way, right? All right. So now you have your ribbon cut. So we're going to adhere the ribbon to the back side of that painted texture embossed piece. So there's no front or back to that really in my mind. So we're gonna put a piece there and a piece here. And I have it about 1/8 of an inch from the top and 1/8 from the bottom. So we're gonna put this one on first and flip our tail here, back behind, and then flip that one. And now I like to use a little, we might be okay. Let's just put this on here and see how much it sticks. I was tempted to put more tear and tape back there, but we're gonna squish it with some more tear and tape in a second here. And then this is gonna go like that. And now a little more tear and tape. To create that sandwich, that ribbon is not gonna be coming out. And then once this is on, we can adhere that to that top part of the flap right here, but we needed to do the ribbon first. So a little bit of liquid glue, and then put this on should be about the same margin as the other ones. Really thin, little bit of gray. Hi, Luann Johnson. All right. So far, so good, I hope. So try to create the pocket so it's like, if you use tear and tape, great. But I think that I like to cut my tear and tape in half so it's a little bit thinner. I think if you use the 1/4 inch, it would be okay. I feel like with this, a liquid glue might come apart depending on how much the person takes the pocket card and puts it in and out. So what I like to do is use the tear and tape, take my scissors, my glue scissors. This one's really goopy, so we're gonna see if this works. I cut it in half. Sometimes you can find sticky tape or this tear and tape in 1/8 inch, and that's perfect. But if you don't have the 1/8 inch, you can contemplate cutting it in half. And I like to put it on the folded end here. And then if it ends up going long past the score line, that's okay because it's just gonna double up over there. So I get that close to the edge. Hi, Kathy King. All right, so then do not put any glue here. It will not create a card that will be a pocket card if you do that. So now this just flips up and you really wanna just press that down. All right, so a lot of assembly, and when that kind of pulled that ribbon nice and tight so that it's not floppy. And then you've got your gingham Balboa, I think, leaf. And what I would do for that is, hi Linda Kester, a little bit late, you're fine. I would put some dimensionals on this, like so, maybe one more there. And those off. And this one is, I would actually put, I don't want it popped up there because my bird is gonna be there. So what I like to do is put a little bit of glue on that base part, just so it's nice and flat. Hi, Karen Wetstein. Hi, Judy Bobo. All right, so this guy looks something like that. Oh, it's just started raining again. So this is popped up over here, and then it goes flat. All right. I think that, so far that's what we got, you guys. It wasn't crazy, right? All right, so let's do our stamping. So I wanted to do this card first because you can see on this card, our crane is a darker gray. And then on the other card, it's a little bit lighter. So that is accomplished by first and second strength. So you have base, I would use basic gray. 80 on Monday, I know, Judy, it's supposed to be 80 here this weekend too. I'm so excited. I mean, I think I'm excited. We'll see if I get too hot. So basic gray, and what I want you guys to do, if you want the bar, like one bird darker and one lighter, what you can do is go first strength and flip it over and do second strength and see how it works. If you like the lighter bird for the other card, maybe you like the darker bird for both. Okay, here's what happened. My first strength will look, it's a little darker, but then look at my second strength got super light. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. That's what I did. My other ink pad upstairs, it stamped off very nicely. But apparently this one wasn't as good. So what I do then is we'll use this one for this card. And now, as long as you got your crane out, you guys, I would go ahead and stamp it again. It fits right there. And then you've got your crane stamped for both of your two cards so that you're done with that. And then you don't have to necessarily stamp it again. Right, so that will be for our other card. All right, now let's move that out of the way. All right, by the magic of TV, mine is already done. And he's got a little calypso coral action going on his head there. That's apparently what they have on their heads. And you accomplish that look by just taking a little sponge dauber and giving them a little redhead. Like that's it. I guess, you know, and I was just curious. There's some, I wonder if are there any cranes on any of these pieces? I was just wondering. Yeah, it's got a little redhead up there. Okay, so that is a thing. I'm not going crazy. All right, so he's got his little redhead up there. Oh, as long as you're at, okay, you'll need to do that on the other one too, but we'll do that later. All right, so there is in your kit 2 of these gray birds. One is used for this one, and then the other is completely optional, extra, whatever you want to do with it, go for it. And we are going to, these little dimensionals are perfect. They fit right on his head. And we're gonna get these all around. Now for his legs, I like to use the sides of these strips like this. And you gotta cut them thin enough because he's got skinny little legs. So just cut a little section here. Hi, Francis Rodriguez. They are sandhill cranes. That's a bird, isn't it? Did I call it something else? I thought I called it a bird. Yes, they're sandhill cranes. Cranes of Fortune is the name of the stamp set. I don't think did I call it, Mary, a different name of a bird? Could have sworn I was calling it a bird the whole time, but I don't really see these birds in real life, right? So when I saw this on their head, I'm like, are you sure that's like that? And we're like, yep, it's on it. So I'll be honest, you guys, I am not a big bird person. I am definitely, I guess you would say I would be a cat person if I'm any kind of an animal person or a pet person. Would pick a cat. So I don't know my birds very well. So just wanted you to let you know their name. Okay, sandhill cranes, perfect. Okay, good. I'm like, I hope I didn't make a mistake in saying something. So this is getting put on here just to create a background effect like that. I was like, if you guys are all getting these gray bits from the other card, like why not use them, right? All right, so then this, I wonder, I think they are in FDL. I bet they are, yes. Oh, I have the hardly even on there. Okay, so we're gonna put this on with a little liquid glue, but you gotta be careful not to put anything over here. So let's just set this on here. And we know our bird's gonna go right about there. And we're gonna put the glue on the ribbon, yes we are. And we're gonna put it on his little footsies, his little tootsies down here. And that should be enough, I think, to hold our bird down. All right, I have him lined up with the bottom of the DSP to make it look like he's grounded. And that's what we've got. So we're gonna let that sit there and dry for a second. Bobby says they have sandhill cranes all over by their house in Michigan. It's spring when they come out. Yes, it's awesome. And Sandy said that they come through every year and land on Lost Lake, which is on their land. Awesome. Very cool. All right, we're just going to stamp a sentiment there. And the sentiment that comes in this set says, wishing a lifetime of happiness and a world full of love. Woo, that's good. All right, so we're going to practice and see how it looks. That works. Now it is off to the left because there's dots over there and the crane's feathers are up over there. So we're gonna put that right about there. Oh yes, nice, very nice. And then this will get flipped over. I don't know if I put any foliage on the bottom. I sure did. Okay, grab the soft succulent and there is a little foliage thing. And what I did is I stamped it. I flipped that over. Let's see how dark that is. So I do it in first strength and then right away I would do it in second strength to give it a little, like a first and a second one. And now flip that over and we're gonna adhere that to the basic gray mat. And, oh, it almost went under there. This goes right on here. And then this can get tucked into here, right? So when you nestle that down at the bottom, you should have about the same border all the way around. And then the polished dots I've got here, they're okay, so there's pink, a big pink, come on, And I've got them going that way actually. And then a little pink there. And then there's one down here. It's a big clear one, but you know what? I've got the pinks right in front of me. So we're gonna go pink right there. And then there's two over on the side here. And so I've got here. Hi, Pauline. Pauline, if you're the Pauline that called me today, I got the cover photo downloaded. And so when I'm done with my live tonight, I will get the Memories and More class in my online store. I think that you might be the one that called me today. Okay. And what can we Stella? Same thing. I don't want to Stella the cream because it will make it bleed. But, you know, you guys can Stella ribbon. I don't know if you know that, but you're definitely able to put a little bit of that bedazzly Stella juice on there. All right, just like that. You could also Stella this painted texture embossed mat on the side like that. Just get a little Stella action going there. Okay, our bird is nice and secure. I think that's good. I might just, his head is a little flippy floppy, so I might just flip this up and put a little dot of liquid glue and help his, it's like a little baby that needs help holding its head up. I'm gonna put that right like that. Good. You guys, we got our second card done. Yay, pocket cards. Oh, this would be a great mystery card layout. Now I'm gonna give it away though. Oh my goodness. I don't know, have we ever done a pocket card for mystery night? Okay, act surprised if I end up doing this layout for mystery card because there's so many pieces and it'd be so confusing. Not that I try to confuse you guys, but I love challenging you. And I love when somebody says, I have all these pieces cut and I have nothing, I have no idea what it's gonna look like. And then it comes together. I love that when somebody tells me that. So, okay. Hi, Melanie Boy, again, watching. Woo, you guys. There's our second card. Here's what we've got done so far. We've got these two. We got it going on. All right. We're saving the lantern card for last, I think. Right? Yeah, save that one for last, I think. Okay. Vicky Fritz says she won't remember. Good. Good. Or just tell me that you won't remember and then I'll still probably do it. All right. This one's next. So this one is a nice one. We've already got our bird stamped, right? So have your bird stamped. And what you need to do to your bird, mine by the magic of TV, remember, mine's done. You will need to do his little head here with a little bit of that coral color. I think I need more, but we already stamped that previously twice because we used that from our scrap paper that you guys, oh, there it is. Okay. Thanks, Marcia. All right, so now we're done with the little crane. This is from, we stamped it. Remember, I had Magic of TV. Mine's die cut. We just stamped his head. So there's that. In your kit then, you guys, we have that piece right there. You cut these earlier tonight or whenever. That one's this. And remember, I did mine ad hoc to use that little scrap-a-roni piece, okay? Then you'll have a mat of white and a coral. This is for double matting on the inside. You already cut your designer paper. For your mat, you have a strip of basic gray, which is for right there. And then you have your Ginkgo leaf here. So poke out any little bits that need to come out. Sometimes looking at the back of it actually helps because from this side I couldn't see it, but then when you flip it over, you can see, oh man, there's a couple up there that need to come out. Hi, Sandy Zidoon. All right, so you got that picked out, that's good. And then you have your card base, just an 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we can get glue happy a little bit. Well, let's see. If we stamp our inside first, then we can get glue happy. Let's get our inside stamp. So this is a double mat. My girls that love the double matting are gonna go crazy because I double matted it. So I think it looks really cool with that double matting. And I just have those little foliage leaves in the bottom corner. So let's grab our green ink back here, our soft succulent, and I think I'll put them on the other side this time. So at first strength and then a second strength. All I did was put that in the bottom. And let's shut that up. Now let's get some glue happiness. That can get glued, and then this can get glued. So let's flip these over. Sandy, my day was great. I finished all my annual catalog swap cards that were due today. And so it felt like a good self-accomplishment thing. Working on them for the last couple weeks. I hope your day was good too, Sandy. And then that goes there. This white one will go on here. And then flip that over. A little bit of adhesive back there. Put that on the inside. All right, so we have our little blocks of designer paper. They are all popped up. So flip them over and let's get them lined up. I'm gonna use that little guy on the end here and let's get them prepped. Because it's designer series paper, you wanna be a little more liberal with your dimensionals because the paper's thin and floppy, right? So I would definitely not just use like 1 or 2. I think I'm gonna use more than I normally would. So we're gonna just make sure they're nice and coated back here with dimensionals. And for a minute there, I'm like, am I doing the right side? And I am, so that's good. So that goes here. So I got 8 on this one, 6 on that one, and a bunch on that. All right, so we got that prepped. I'm gonna use my pick tool to help me get these guys off. I found that I can sometimes get up to like 5 of them on the end of there. And I gotta get that one. All right, getting these on here and getting them straight is gonna be a little task, but we'll get it done. They're all lined up on that right-hand side. And I can tell you, I don't have them centered top to bottom. I can see I have a little more gray showing there than up there. But as long as you get them close, that's all that matters. I'll tell you here, you have sandhills come back to the same spot every year. That's awesome. You know, I have a duck that likes to come, maybe not a duck, but I always have some ducks that walk around my backyard. So this is about 3/4 of an inch, and that was like 5/8. So I wasn't quite centered. I think if I would try to, I'd do like more than 5/8 there. And so I'm gonna start with the bottom here, and I think I will pull out the ruler. I'm not usually one that does that, but I wanna try to keep it. I know I'm about 1/8 of an inch from the side there, but I know I want less than 3/4 of an inch. And so I'm gonna put the ruler there just to help me get like a good base. And so 1/8 of an inch on that side, and I wanna just make sure I'm nice and straight here. This one, remember I did my hodgepodge thing. You got about 1/8 of an inch between. So we're gonna put that right there. And then that's my other piece. This one would go next. And I'm not pushing these down at the moment because if I need to rearrange them, I could still pull them up pretty easy. So if I do something like that, it's a little bit more than a 1/2 inch, and then that's good. I'm a little bit more even. We had a bear the other day by your house. Wow. Do they play duck, duck, goose, Jeannie? We actually last year, 2 years ago, when we were doing the addition here, we had 12 duck eggs underneath the little hedge that's over there. So this one's supposed to be 2.5, right? So because I cut it wonky, I'm gonna use my ruler to help me figure out, oh, it needs to go right about there. Oh, I need to flip it this way though. So let's see here, 2.5. You guys, if you cut one piece, you're not gonna have the finagle like I do, but I tried not to cut into that other 6x6 piece, and my crane is gonna go there. And so all good, but just to make sure, I'm gonna just put some dimensionals right in there so that it's prepped for my crane there. Okay, this guy is also gonna get some dimensionals like the last one. I'm only gonna do one up at the top though, I think, and I think the rest is flat. So what we'll do then is that one gets popped, and then I'll run some liquid glue down the back section here. And then Oh, you guys have that second gray crane that I gave you from the other card. You could put it behind this one and do exactly what we did with the other card, putting that gray back here and having that shadow. That would look super cool if you guys did that. What I tried to do was hide the Ginkgo Leaf thing. It's right underneath its foot here. So what I would do, I'm trying to figure out, when I did this, I tried to hide that underneath its foot. So it's gonna go something about like that, I'm guessing. And then its foot is gonna cover that up right there. All right, so that's kind of what I've got. Let's go ahead, we've got a little stamping left to do here. It says much luck and good fortune. We're embossing that. So if you guys don't have, if you don't have a heat, whoa, there goes my heat tool. If you don't have a heat tool and this is too dark to stamp black on, you could just cut yourself a new piece with it being white, because there's probably scrap left over in the white piece that I gave you. And that would look certainly fine in white and then stamped with coral or stamped with basic gray. But we're gonna do some heat embossing. So I am very happy to announce that in the new mini catalog, they have some embossing stuff that's in there. There's a new embossing buddy. There's a tray for embossing. There's something else too. It's like a little kit thing. And so that was an embossing buddy. It's like a little chalk pillow. We used it a lot last night in the Memories and More class. And so that's my gold embossing powder. I keep it in a little Tupperware type Rubbermaid thing so that it all stays there. And then it's a Versamark pad, is a pigment pad. And I think, hi Brenda Little, this guy, I think it's stamped pretty straight, if I'm not mistaken. We did it on the other one. I just want to leave a little room for an embellishment, and I want to leave a little room on that side. So I'm going to stamp it, I think, right about here. Let's see this. Yep, okay. Just want to make sure I'm up high enough. And don't squeeze or squish too hard, because you might get a halo. Oh, that's good. Okay. I'm always so excited when I get it straight. So it did stamp on there pretty straight. You can see it. Very hard to see. Now you take this is embossing powder. They're teeny tiny pieces of plastic pellets, and they will stick to where you stamped your sentiment. And I don't even have to open up the bottle because I have enough floating around here in the bottom. So you get it to cover everywhere that you want it to cover. Hopefully it covers exactly where you stamped it. If you end up getting it everywhere else, you can just take a paintbrush and try to like scrape off any extra. I do generally cover this up so that I don't blow that embossing powder all over the place. And there's not a lot to hold on to. So I do use a clothespin like this so I don't burn my fingers. And this is what the heat tool looks like. And so you just turn that on. And I'll try to get up here so you can see it. And what happens, you gotta give it a second to warm up, but I start it on one end and I work it to the other end, and hopefully you guys can see the transition. This is what got me stamping over 20 years ago. It was like, oh, it's so cool. You see it melting? And then I just go right back. I do not go like that. I just hold it and let it go. And I follow it along. And then once I see that it is nice and melted, you are pretty much done and you can touch it right away. If you miss a spot though, it will definitely brush off. So you gotta make sure you've hit every section of that with your heat gun so that it melts it all, okay? All right, yes, clothespins or anything that holds on to paper, or holds on so that you don't have to burn your fingers. Now, on the other side here, what I did is I just took my scissors and I banner trimmed it. So, or like flagged it. It's not a flag, it's just angled it. So I kind of played with this when I was trying to figure out the right, like how I wanted this. So this is gonna go here, and then that bird leg is gonna go right over the top of that. So I wanna banner it, and if you need to, you could grab a little pencil and mark where you wanna cut it. So I was gonna go right about there. And so then I'm just gonna use my scissors and cut at an angle up from that. Tweezers work, Diana says. Yes, absolutely. I should have, yes, that's the other thing that's in the kit with the embossing. It's, I think, a tweezers. Yes, for holding. Perfect. So the other thing, though, there is a little, this is where I added the ribbon on this card. So there's a little satin ribbon, and you're going to put your tear and tape along the whole bottom. Do not worry if you go over the edge, because you can roll it back, and I'd rather go over the edge, because when it's on a slant like that, I want to get the tape as far as I can to the edge. So then I just fold that back, and I fold that back at an angle, and then that gave me adhesive all the way to the corner. Your Barb Johnson, her first embossing was on Christmas cards. Yay! Embossing is fun. Like, I was like, that's what got me started stamping. So now I'm going to put this on so that it will stick where the tear and tape is. Make sure you try to get it straight, and that will stick right there. And then I just followed the edge of the, where I cut it with the gray, I'm gonna follow and cut with the satin. And then on this side, I'm gonna follow it down. So it basically took on the angle and shape of the basic gray strip of paper. Then that all got popped up with some dimensionals, and I'm not going to put the dimensionals where the satin ribbon is at the bottom. I'm gonna put it right over the edge of that to catch it where the gray paper is. And I will do multiples on this one as well. All right, just like that. You guys, if you don't know me, I am a big advocate of having your 3 scissors. You can see I use them all pretty regularly. All right, so let's get these off of there. Got them all in one fall swoop. And then this, I'm gonna put this on first, and I have it kind of centered in this coral designer paper, and it's flush with the edge of the card. Oh, hang on. So this is popped up here, right? This is flat. So it's gonna end up going curving down. So I don't like that. So I'm going to put a double stack on this very outer one, like that. And I don't know how, I'm gonna double stack the next 2 as well. A perfectionist, yes, Sandy, you know me. So these got double stuffed Oreos here. And now that will be straight across. So I went all the way to the edge here. And there we go. Now the bird is popped up as well, and we're gonna do the same thing with his legs. We're going to catch the edge of this and cut a little strip. So there, and now grab the glue scissors, and we're gonna do right there. Now his legs, remember, they're really skinny, so you can't cut that too thick. And that will go, oh man, I can't tell. Hang on, let's get that other side off. And that's gonna go way down here. And then cut a little section for the other little footsie. You can pick those off. All right. Hi, Millie Kindle. And I feel like it needs one. Oh, let's use that up. We'll put that right there. Now that we talked about, if you don't want to see that little tail thing, you just put his foot right over that. And I made him grounded this time on the bottom of that. And then you see a little bit more of the ginkgo. If you want him, oh, I've just ripped his foot off. Poor little guy, oh my goodness. Oh, I guess I maybe shouldn't have pulled that off so hard. All right, we're gonna salvage what we can and put that right back. He's got a thin foot now. He just had a little surgery. I was gonna try to move that up just a hair. Oh, that's funny. Oh, poor little dude. Okay, there. All right, what can we Stella? Yeah, Sandy, my mom says that to me all the time. She's like, you just enjoy your fingers as long as you can, because they're not always gonna be thin and nimble like they are. They're gonna get clumsier and not be able to make bows. Oh, you brute, yes, my poor little bird. Oh, he got deep-footed. Okay, So let's see what we got. We've used a lot of pink ones so far. So let's see if I've got a few white. Oh yeah, we can use up these white ones. You guys know I get so happy when I can use up a sheet. So we have a clear one over here, and then another big clear one there, a little one down here, and then a big one. That one wanted to come off over here. And another little guy up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'll save these for the next card. Unless you want to put 7 on. You guys can put as many embellishments on as you want because you have a whole pack of them. So I think that looks nice. I think I'm good with that. If you guys can see the style. Oh, you can kind of see the shimmeriness on there depending on how I hold it. But all right, you guys, we've got these 3 done. And we're on to our lantern card next. All right, so let's put this away. All right, us stampers get excited about using our stuff up. Yes, we sure do. Because we probably have so much of it and it feels so good to use it up. All right, our lantern card is last. So let's move that over there and grab your kits. You guys, you got a lot of stuff in here. So my mom says that this is the gourmet card, you guys. Hi, Kathy Jackson from Iola, Wisconsin. All right, so we've got our oh, I forgot to tell you guys. I have Happy Mail. Shirley, you reminded me. This is from Shirley. Oh, there's a little polished dot. This card is from Shirley, who's watching Malarkey. A thank you card, and it's a nice fold up. So thank you. I love the colors. The scallop contour dies with the macrame on the back and the soft succulent. So that was my Happy Mail that came in. I almost forgot to share that with you guys. Okay. Whew, not a lot of stamping on this one, you guys. Your kit is almost ready to basically assemble, I think. So we cut these 2 earlier in the night. So they will get fit onto your 2 evening evergreen mats. If you ever get cards from me where there's like a little schnibble hanging off on the side, you just take your scissors and you can cut it off. Sometimes that guillotine cutter leaves that hanging. So you have these 2 green mats, which will be for these 2, okay? All right, that's the dot you lost off of a card last night. It sure is. Oh, Tyler's calling, you guys. Hang on. Oops, I think I just hit decline. So sorry, dear. He can wait 20 minutes. We're almost done. Poor guy. Oops. Okay, so that polished dot, I didn't use the polished dots last night, though. Hi, Sonia from Melbourne, Australia. Mitzi, I know where this little guy goes. I feel like he goes on my Let's Just Stamp. Yes. Okay, I think he goes on there from that one card. Hi, Linda Hall. Okay, back to business. We have that card, and you guys will have a layer that looks like this. So there's a white, a green, evergreen, and a smoky slate. That's for there. So that's in your kit. You have a mother of pearl ginkgo leaf. You might need to do some pokey. So let's get that. And there's one there. Oh man, there's a bunch of them on this one. So this die is awesome. Absolutely love it. Okay, so you have that in your kit already cut for you. You guys will have 2 pieces of vellum that will be for your inside that creates the frostiness there. So you got those 2. You have a white piece. You're like, where does that go? Well, hi, Janet Rose. You can sure sign up for this, Janet Rose. Please send me an email, chrismbertram@msn.com. I can mail it to California to you. You guys, there was somebody else in the middle here that I needed to sign up. If you're still watching, I can't remember who you were. So much water has been under the bridge since then. Somebody after Helen Chase, but before Janet. Who was it? Remind me quick who it was, because I feel like there was somebody during class that wanted a kit too. All right, so let's see the card here. Hi, Sue Sorrell. You're wondering, what's this for? Well, we need a place to write a little love note. So that's the back piece. I did remember to put it in your kits. It was an afterthought with assembly. I flipped the card over. I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't forget to put the white piece in. So, these white pieces are for your inside panels here. So these white pieces to help illuminate. All right, so those are for your innards. Then you cut this piece of designer paper right here. So that's for our outside. You have a piece like this, which is a normal mat. It's embossed with the Tasteful Textiles embossing folder. Now, this has since retired, but it worked perfectly with this card. These cards were designed. Oh, Marcia Coolbert. Yes, Marcia, you were it. That's it. Mitzi Stanley messaged me today about the kits. Oh, Mitzi. So you're right, Mitzi. I needed to add you to this. And then Marcia. Okay. I only have one left. Okay. Linda Rios maybe wanted a set. Oh, Linda Rios. Okay. I'll write her name here, and then I think we're done, because 48 was Feline. She got 2 sets. Okay. I think I'm good. Mitzi, it's so good that you just said that right now, because you needed one. I have it set aside for you, though, I thought. I did. Yes. I set it aside for you, but I didn't write your name down. So that's good. Okay. I mean, it's not good, but it's good we figured it out. All right, you guys, this is your inside mat here. All right, so this bird got die cut. So this got folded in half. It's got score lines already, and the bird got cut twice. So we used that gray bird. Carmen had never done that fun fold, so she's looking now how to put it together. Cool. So this bird got cut out. We used the birds on the other cards, right? So this now is for your inside, okay? All right. The one thing about it is one side's the top and one side's technically the bottom, but they're both going to be the outside. It's just that that's how it works out. And then you have your card base, which is the hot dog, 11 by 4 1/4, and scored at 5 1/2. And make sure you got it like this. Okay, so how do we put this together? You know, let's stamp. Let's just do the few things that need stamping, and then we're going to start, assemble it from start to finish. So let's grab these 2 things, and on our back panel here, we have the foliage just on the back here. So we need this one, and we're going to do 1, 2. So that's all I did. Now, if you guys want to put a sentiment on, go for it. You're more than welcome to. The basic gray is sending 1,000 well wishes on your special day. Let's see if that is straight before we go to our white piece. It's not bad. Let's go with it. And that's just centered on the white piece. Oh, yeah. Cool. That's it for the basic gray. Then there is this second strength, I think, of the soft succulent. I wouldn't do first strength, but I would do second strength. And stamp off. And you kind of got one going this way. And if you don't like doing this on here, you don't have to. It was just to use something to add a little color to it. And then I've got a little dragonfly up in the corner in Carl, and he's just the single little dude. So if you just want to get a little ink on him right here, and he's up in the corner hanging out. All right, that's it for stamping on this one, you guys. That's it. There really wasn't a lot of stamping on these cards. Okay. Let's glue. All right. So this white piece, I actually popped it up with dimensionals. I just thought it looked a little cooler having the dimensionals. So we're actually, I guess I was going to go for the inside first, but we're going to save that for after. We're going to go for the outside first. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on this to pop up the white piece. And that is going to go on the evening evergreen. All right. On this over here. If you didn't stamp it good, you guys, don't hesitate to flip it over and use the other side. Now, let's get glue happy. We'll flip these over, and then this is going to get glued onto our mat, as well as this onto this soft succulent mat. That goes here, like that. And then that one goes on the bottom of our embossed piece, making sure you guys don't put your birds on upside down, okay? It can happen if you're not paying attention. I promise, it can happen. So this goes at the bottom. So you want to leave your border like that. And then grab your tear-in tape. Okay, made it all the way over there with my embossing powder. All right, so we're gonna put a little bit of satin ribbon. Oh, the whole thing came right off. So the trick with the tear-in tape is to push it down nice and flat, and then the paper pops up and not the tape. All right, so now this, you're gonna cut just enough so you can flip your tails over. All right. Something like this. And a little more tear-in tape. Got a little short with that end right there, but we make it work. All right. Now that is going to go onto our card front, and this is going to go onto our card back. So let's adhere both of those. And don't grab this one, but you want to grab the hot dog. So, you know, it opens like that. So we're going to put this on the front. And then the white piece on the back. So you can write a love note to somebody. Otherwise, there's really not a lot of spots where you can write. Okay, so we have basically that going on. Now, your ginkgo leaf is not as long as what that shows. So you might think that, whew, it's just one piece. Nope, it is cut. So just know that you will need to take and cut it like right at the top of that second last one. And you don't want to leave the Humpty Humps hanging there. So I would definitely nicely round that so it's not hanging out weird. And then what I would do is take some more tear-in tape and prep the back top left and the back bottom right, like this and like that. A little bit like this and a little bit like that. And then I have the luxury of being able to set that there, and I can line it up so it exactly matches. And I like to do that when I'm copying one of my cards. I just put that right over the top of it and then catch it with it, and then it's exactly the same. And in this case, I put this flat onto the card because I popped up that white piece. So instead of using more tear-in tape, I think I'm just gonna run liquid glue all over that. Oh, and just for good measure, we're going to put a little dimensional or two right up there, just to hold that down. I don't even think I did that on mine, but I thought that might be cool, having that popped up. And then this goes, I'm guessing something like so. Okay, so then get that. I think I'm going to put a little dimensional on my other sample here. All right. All right. We'll do the dots at the end, but you guys have been waiting for the inside. So I'll set that like that. Okay. All right, let's get something glued. So this guy right here, I would do the vellum first on this, okay? So this is going to be like this, and the vellum needs to go on the back side of this. And the vellum, you can see if you hold it here, it just barely covers the edges, right? So what I'm gonna do for this is, oh, you guys oh, Diana's falling in love with the set, yay! You know, it's a nice set, it really is. That Ginkgo Leaf is probably my favorite die in here. So I'm just putting some glue around here. And then, hi Tracy Gruby and Becky Christensen. So I'm gonna put my vellum down on here. All right, just so that sticks on there. Okay, so that's what is now, you can see the translucent through there. Now these ends actually fold in, right? So they fold in like this, right? And so grab your bone folder and burnish each side. All right, now, you got two ways you can do this. I think I wrote in the instructions to glue this down and then slip your little white pieces in, but I'll be honest with you, it's probably easier to glue those white pieces to it now versus after the back panels are in. So the white piece here, and there's a white piece here, and they go, just, it helps with illuminating it. So that goes there on the inside back. I think I did this right. Man, yeah. Yeah, I did that right. Okay, let's get that. Oh man, I got it crooked. So the vellums are here, the whites are here, and now what happens is we need to put the adhesive here and here, and then that will go on the card like this, okay? And then these panels will get glued last. So what I would do is one at a time. And they go pretty close to the score line. So add a little glue there. And I got out of the camera, sorry. So I'm gonna put this one down first. Get butted up right to the score line. And then I'm centering it top to bottom. So that inside piece was a hair under 4 1/4. Right? Now what's gonna happen is this panel right here is going to get glued. Sorry, I'm gonna hold it right here. I'm trying to get it butted up to the score line. And hopefully, when you go to shut it, like that glue will give a little and it'll actually allow it to go flat. And then if you use like tear and tape or some sort of like sticky tape like this, it's not gonna have forgiveness. But with that liquid glue, it could pull a little bit if it needed to. I mean, and that was it. Like the white is back there to help brighten it up. Okay, so if you have, I don't have a tea light handy. I'll be honest with you, I don't know where I have any tea lights, but you would put a tea light in there and then it would be a glow. So, all right, now these are what we have left. So flip them both over and you're gonna put one there, and then that goes on this piece. And then this one goes here. And then you're gonna flip them over. Hi, Donna Gruski. All right, then this goes here. A little bit of glue. Vicky loves it, yay. Yeah, I saved the best for last, I think. My mom says the gourmet card is her favorite too. So that should fit in there very nicely. Okay, and then the other side, you know what, if look at your pattern if you think it needs to go one way or another. And then this one will go right, it should fit in there very nicely. And yeah, you guys, I mean, it's not, I think I put in the PDF tutorial for you guys to watch the video. So I'm glad a lot of you are watching the video to help. It really will help put that together. And that's basically it. We just have to put some polished dots on there. And you guys, I'm so excited. We're going to use up a clear one here. Whoa, not on that card, but right there. And there's another big one right here. And yay, that's done. I mixed it in with some pink, so I'll put a small pink one up there. Betty Ray says they're beautiful. Jeannie loves the card, yay. I put a little one on the satin ribbon right there. And one more white one or clear one we'll put here. Are you supposed to write on the white before you put it together? I don't think I could afterwards. What white, Anna? I have the back here for writing on. I would definitely not write anything back there because I think the purpose of the white on the inside is to help illuminate when the tea light is going. So basically, Anna, I would definitely use this whole back panel for writing on it so that you can even have the card closed while you write on it. So it makes it really easy. So yeah, I would definitely, if that's what you were asking about, Anna, I would not write on the inside here because it will look weird if you do anything back there. You would kind of probably see it through there. Now, unless it was a cool like background texture stamp that you put in there. So, yeah. All right, Stella, though. We didn't do any Stella. So, okay, good. So I'm glad that you missed it and that makes sense now. All right. We need, so the satin ribbon, you could definitely put a little extra glitz on this. And great card class, Shirley says. Yay! Battery operated tea light. Yes, that is exactly what you need to put back there. So we're going to run this here. Patsy says, beautiful cards as always. Yes, well, compliments to Carissa. I really cased her cards a lot for this class. She made it very easy for me to get these cards ready for you guys for class. So we're going to bring them all in. They were fabulous. I loved them all. My goodness, you guys. So do you have a favorite? All right. I mean, this one looks simple on the outside, but when you get that inside, you're like, holy wow, look at that beautiful inside. So we have, let's see here. I'm going to hold these like this so that they're all in a row. All right. So favorite, it's a wow card. Yes. Kudos to both. Oh, thanks, Cindy. Yeah, this is Faline and Carissa. They both went crazy over this set. So thanks, Ann Bellinger. Thanks, Diana. So Cindy loves the coral flower one the best. Okay, yay. Betty says the flower one is her favorite. Barb loves the DSP. Mitzi says absolutely stunning cards. Thank you to you and Carissa. Yay, yes. Deb says beautiful card, Sharon. Thanks for sharing. Latokia says number 4. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think you guys are loving the flower card. Well, so I did. Anne likes the pink block one. So okay, you guys, this is a great layout. Honestly, if you had something else that you could put right there, that blocking of the steps of the designer paper is super cool. I love my pocket cards. I think Kathy Miller is the one that is my pocket card queen. If you guys watch Kathy Miller, she does pocket cards. And then this one was an awesome mystery card layout. So we bring our styles back from the past. So yay. All right. So let's make a little room. We're going to scissors put away. And we're going to do a little drawing, you guys, for the door prize. And we're going to announce some card class winners. Carla Lake says pocket card and the lantern card. Kathy, love the gold DSPs and all the cards. Yay! All right, so that was for embellishments. Okay, so you guys, we're going to flip these off to the side. And I did the Hey Sports Fan class last week. Linda Kessler says, love all, but the last one is her favorite. Yay. So these were last week's card classes. So if you missed this class last week, you can definitely catch the video in my Facebook page or in my YouTube. Carmen said, another great class. You're very welcome, Carmen. This PDF tutorial is available for sale if you guys want it, or you can just watch the video too if you want to see how the cards are made. But these are what we made last week, Thursday. Corinne says the lantern card. Yeah, lots of variety for you guys tonight. So we're gonna do a little drum roll. I have this obsession with cleaning up these little dimensional backs and getting them so they don't land on the floor. So, all right, you guys, drum roll. Da, 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 da. This card goes to Sherry Johnson. Judy Boba, you're very welcome. Thanks. I'll have a great vacation. Sherry, it's Sherry Johnson. Yay. You have been on fire. Yes, Kathy King. Oh, I'm ready for to be off a fire. Da, 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 da. I'm ready for a little water. Mary Gunn, who does the craft roulette. Your name was drawn for that one. Da, 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 da. This card goes to Vanessa Saylor. She had a birthday last week, and so she watched the video, and so her name was drawn for that one. She was on there a couple times. And Helen Chase. Helen, I don't know if you're still watching, but you are the lucky winner of this one. Okay, so I have addresses for everybody, but I think Sherry Johnson. So you guys know my deal. I mentioned this last night. My goal is to have all these prizes of cards out before I leave for vacation. So Sherry Johnson, though, if you can give me yours, that would be great. All right, so we had here so Helen Chase got added, Mitzi, Janet, Oh, Helen, you needed to confirm for me. I don't know if Helen, I think Helen wanted ink paper. I don't know if you're still watching, Helen, but Helen, oh, I can't remember. I wrote Helen over here for a reason. I think she wanted this one. So I added Helen, Mitzi, Janet, Marcia, and Linda Rios for now. I will make sure to follow up with all of the extra 5 people. Valine, I've already got your name in the drawing, but you got my last card kit, so that makes 48. So we are going to switch my phone. Congratulations to all those winners. I'm going to flip my phone down here and we're going to do a little random number generator. We're going to go into the Chrome, go into the Google. All right, random number generator. So we had 47 people and we're going to put 47 in here and we're going to get rid of you, Elaine. Sorry. Click generate. Number 32, Becky Gandolfo, woohoo, from Livonia, Michigan. All right, Becky, and because we had so many people sign up, we're going to do a second one for this one. Number 4, Ellen Brover, woohoo, from Florida. Ellen and Becky Gandolfo, I will have door prizes for you in your next packet. Whenever that goes out, you guys generally get card classes from me, so I'll hold on to your door prize until I have something to mail to you. And you guys, we're not done. Are you waiting and excited to see what ink, paper, scissors is for next month? Oh man, so excited. Okay, I am going to get I'm going to flip the camera down and I'm going to get the annual catalog to show you the suite. And it's from the new annual catalog. These cards are hot off the press. So this is called Hues of Happiness. All right, I love the paper. It's so bright and cheerful. This is a perfect class for June. So it's called Hues of Happiness. It has a really awesome designer paper. The glossy dots are what goes with the suite. So the ink, paper, scissors, you'll get a quarter pack of the paper, you'll get the pack of glossy dots, and the thing that I put with it for ribbon was the polished pink ribbon. So that's the suite, and these are the cards. All right, so you'll make 4 cards with me, and I used almost all the dyes. I went with the pink more than like the other colors in the suite because I pulled in the polished pink ribbon. And so this die cut is part of that suite. So you guys, this is the designer series paper. So I didn't even use the stamps on this card, right? All I used is a sentiment at the top. And this is some really pretty designer paper in the back. I will die cut this for you, or Anna will probably die cut it for you if she's watching. Probably like she rolls her eyes and says, yes, I'm cutting that. Anna, like it looks like a little notebook page. It's so cool. All right, so you can copy this card exactly and then just stamp a little sentiment up there. All right, so then here's the second one. And this die is also part of that die set. This one, you guys, have an option. I stamped the flowers so that you could experience using your stamps, right? You'll get a white piece of paper big enough to stamp your flowers. You'll have to color them with whatever coloring tools you want. But just know that if you don't get the stamp set, there's plenty of extra flowers from the designer paper that you could pull these into it. So pulled in those dots and then the pink ribbon again, the wave die here, and you'll use your designer paper. And then there's a little vellum foliage thing, which will be die cut for you. So, and I saw your note. So, Ann B for IPS, and that is June. Okay, so here's another one. And these flowers are from the designer series paper again. So you just kind of fussy cut them. Or if you like to save your designer paper and use stamped flowers, you could definitely stamp your own flowers and put them in here. And so we've got friend, best wishes, congratulations. Those are all sentiments from that stamp set. And you'll use a piece of your designer paper. I'll cut out, or Anna will cut out a tag kind of for the background, and then it's embossed. And then the ribbon is run through it like that. So Mary Carl's, absolutely. So Mary Carl's, I will add you to ink, paper, scissors for June. And then this, I think, was one of my favorites. Again, you guys, it's the designer series paper. Oh, Jean Terwilliger, and you're already signed up and paid for it, so you're good to go. It's the Waves die, a sentiment from the stamp set, and again, these are the flowers. You guys, the designer series paper, just is so amazing. They have all these like flowers that you can just cut out or use as backgrounds. And so you'll use your background piece here. I'll have the frame cut out for you so that you put that on there. You'll have a stitched rectangle and the polished pink ribbon on there. So yes, Kathy King. Oh, they're so pretty and flowery and pink. So pretty and pink and yellow. So you guys, this is ink, paper, scissors that's coming up for June. Yeah, please reach out. Let me know if you want to get signed up for it. Cindy Runtree, yes, you guys, absolutely. I'll get you guys on the list, your names on the list, and then we can add Patsy Roberts too. Definitely, I'll get you on my spreadsheet, and then we will connect on payment at any point that you're ready for it. Helen Chase wants it as well. Okay, so Helen, I did sign you also up for this one for the Symbols of Fortune. I believe you wanted that, so I have you, but oh, you guys are amazing. Look at you go. So if I am writing your name, I'm seeing it, but Kathy's screaming with joy. Oh, Latokia too. If you don't see me writing your name down, I might not be seeing your comment. So it's always, always, always beneficial to always find Betty Pyle too. Follow up with me, especially if you're watching the replay, you guys. I don't get back to look at comments like I probably should. Carmen Melendez, yes, I'll sign you up too. I don't get back to seeing comments like I probably should unless you tag me. Facebook is crazy with when they show you stuff or don't show you stuff. So I always tell people, please just always send me an email, text, a phone call, instant message, anything like that. But if you're hearing me saying I got you on the list, like that's good. But sometimes the comments come through so fast and I don't always see them. So a follow-up is always a good way. And also marking going on an event isn't always the best thing too, because I don't go by who's marking going or who comments and posts. I don't always see that. So, but yeah, I have, I did write down Betty Latokia and, oh, Betty, I wrote you down twice. Betty Latokia, Helen, Mary Carls, Carmen Melendez, Ann Bellinger, Cindy Runtree, and Patsy Roberts. So, and then I'll connect with everybody for the ink, paper, scissors for May that I have you signed up for. So Shirley, you're signed up for all the classes for June. We talked on the phone, I think 2 days ago, and you sent me a check, I think. And so we're already good for June for you. So yeah, perfect. Okay. Take a deep breath. I think we're good. You guys, I'm going to be doing reminders for anybody who missed me in the beginning. I've got a few videos I need to be doing with you over the next few days that I want to be doing. One is the last chance video. I don't know if I'm going to set a date and a time or if I'm just going to wing it and go for it. I'm also going to do a swap card showcase, and I also have the June class card showcase that I'm going to do. So 3 videos. I'm going to sneak them in between Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday. So at some point, if I can figure out and narrow down a time, I'll try to give you guys a little pre-warning, and otherwise you can always catch the replays, okay? So yeah, I can't do the June showcase video until I make the Sun Prince cards, and so I'm planning to make the Sun Prince cards tomorrow. All right. Oh, Technique Thursday. In case you missed it, Kelly did do a Technique Thursday. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she featured this card, which is, she talked about running ribbon through dies. And so if you missed watching the Technique Thursday, you can catch it. This is a class card for the June monthly class. As long as I'm showing that, these are what's the June monthly class. So you guys can check the details out on the event on my website. Cindy said she will miss me, but have fun and all the fun. But forget about work and have a wonderful vacation. I will definitely do that. Oh, Shirley, you're very welcome. All right. This was a fun class, you guys. I really enjoyed making these cards with you. It was like they just flew right by and everything went off without a hitch. We didn't forget any paper. I think life is good. Woo! All right, you guys. Lots of sunshine, love, and hugs to you, like always. Jeannie Parker, love you long time, and everybody else. You guys have a great rest of your night. Melanie Miller, thank you. Have a great weekend as well to everybody. Great holiday weekend. Be safe, have fun, make some cards, cook some food, be outside, go for a walk, enjoy, relax, have fun, right? And we'll see you at some point in the next day or two. And we'll see you later. I feel weird saying goodbye because I feel like I'm leaving it open-ended, but I am. So you guys have a good rest of your night. We'll talk to you later. Bye, Laura. Bye, everybody.